By the light of the sun, by the depth of the moon, by the flame of the wand, and by the pentacle of earth, I call upon the guides of wisdom, the ancestors of the craft, and the holy guardian angel. Guide us now through the stations of the dove and serpent. Reveal what is hidden, so we may transform it into light. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. In this reading, we walk the path of the dove and serpent spread, an 11-fold journey of transformation. Each position reveals a unique aspect of your journey, alternating between the essence of your being and the events that help to shape your destiny. Remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Libra, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start out today with the Emperor energy. Of course we do. This is your power, authority. This is your discipline, and you're someone that takes your life seriously right now. Okay? You're a very fun, easygoing person, very lighthearted, very carefree, but right now, you're serious. Right now, you're taking things very seriously, right? This is our first card, first position, called the Station. Reveals our essential personality right now. This is a fortified ego. Okay, the Emperor is reflecting right now your personal style, your core identity, how you see yourself, right? You see yourself as someone that's got to be the boss right now. Maybe I've got to be a little strict. I've got to take things more seriously. I've got to be driven. I've got to be able to focus my attention. Okay, and right now this is probably shaping your world, right? And so when we take a more serious approach to our life, when we try to kind of exemplify more discipline and this kind of authority, this self-control, this fortified ego energy, we may be experiencing a little bit of friction with other people, okay? I think right now this is the energy that you need to embody. And I think you're somebody that is hardworking, and you're trying to focus on the things in your life that you need to do, the things that need to get done, okay? And maybe this is kind of you pulling time away from other things. Okay. I think it's your time to shine, right? You're not here by accident, Libra. Let's put this card into a little bit of context. We're going to use that dove and serpent spread. And we've got, we got a 3 of cups. I like it. We have a 5 of cups. We have a 10 of swords. Very good. A 7 of cups. And, the Empress. Very, very good. Very nice. Emperor and Empress. We have the Hanged Man. We have a Knight of Wands. So 2 very strong Aries references here. I would watch probably the Aries reading if I were you. Libra, this message really is truly meant for you. We have a 2 of Swords. And we have the 8 of Pentacles. I like this. I think it's kind of an idea of balance here in a way, right? I kind of feel like your guides are telling you that, yes, we're in this very serious energy. We've got to have the discipline. We've got to have the strength. But we also want to have gratitude and love and appreciation and connection. We need the water in order to sort of nourish things and nurture things. We need the Emperor, but we also need to be the Empress, you know. We kind of have to be both together to really grow the garden, to cultivate the garden. Yeah. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it over here with our little octopus friend, the 8 of Tentacles, right there on top. And we're not going to look at that card until the very end, so you do have to watch until the end, okay? But it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your prediction in the comments down below. Now, as we look around the room, what do we see? Well, we see 1, 2, 3 major arcana energies. It's the Emperor, right? And the Empress and the Hanged Man. The Emperor is taking control, learning how to take command, learning to be the leader, learning how to strive, how to be disciplined, how to give orders. The Empress is sort of representing a little bit of a balance to our Emperor, right? They're kind of both looking in different directions. They're both seated very similar. They both have their magic wand, right? The Emperor kind of rules by force. The Empress rules by love and compassion, right? And so I think we need both. We need a very stern energy, but we also need a very yielding and a very comforting and a very loving energy. I think the Hanged Man is here to say we need to learn how to let things go. But the Hanged Man's also in the position of your persona, which we have to be careful of, because this could be that people are looking at you as somebody who they can take advantage of. So maybe we need to really be the Emperor right now, okay? As much as we maybe feel as if I just want to be the Empress, we don't want to project too much of a submissive persona right now, okay? And then, of course, we have fire. We've got water, water, water. We've got our air energies, and we have a little bit of earth. So the water energy, to start with, position to the battlefield, right? That 3 of cups here. The 3 of cups is representing where we might be blocked right now, or what the dilemma might be. This sort of, I don't know if it's this moral conflict or the problem here of choice. And it's kind of feeling like we want to be gracious and appreciative. We want to always be recognizing the contributions of others, and we need to be very giving and very loving and all this stuff, you know. At the same time, we don't want to go to the extreme and we end up sort of looking weak, or we don't want to let other people get away with everything. Let's say you're the boss at work, you know. How do you manage your position here? How do you do it? I think the dilemma, the challenge really, is to know how to be an effective leader, but still also be compassionate and gracious. How to be like, it's kind of a servant leadership, you know. How to cultivate the kind of environment or the kind of life that we want. The 3 of Cups is a card of abundance, of celebration. Maybe it's saying that we need to learn how to recognize our own achievements. We need to know how to recognize the achievements of others too. Maybe this is, right now you're at risk of somebody else taking the credit for something that you've done. Because if the Emperor is how you see yourself, but the Hanged Man is how other people see you. These are very different energies. And sometimes the 3 of Cups is a card that's all about recognition. You see. So between these two, it's kind of like, well, we don't want people to take advantage of us. We don't want people to see us as somebody that isn't serious or isn't standing up for themselves, or will never stand up, you know, or step up. But then, of course, we don't want to just rule with the iron fist either, and sort of, be too strict, too serious, too disciplined. But with this 3 of Cups, this is that idea of recognition or abundance or celebration. And it may be that we're looking for that kind of balance, and how we can work hard and then play hard, you know, how we can merge together and sort of integrate both, like management styles or something, yeah. So I don't know if you're stepping up into a leadership role, or if you finally decided to to start something new, or to take charge, and we're sort of like, we're seeing ourselves as this Emperor, that very serious, very disciplined, very like attentive, very focused, keeping everything in line, keeping things in order, and maybe that 3 of Cups is saying we need to be a little bit more, you know, gracious, and we need to try to connect with people on a deeper level, because no one really wants to connect with an Emperor. They say it's kind of lonely at the top, or heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? Because the Emperor has to make those difficult decisions. We don't always get the joy and abundance that we want. you know? It's not all fun and games, in other words. And so the emperor has to be okay with not always being liked, not always being appreciated even, you know? We don't always get the credit for what we do. And maybe sometimes that's a good emperor, one that can say, no, it wasn't me that did this, it was my team, it was everybody else, it was all of you that made this happen. You know, maybe the emperor is just trying to find a way to sort of to ease into the right kind of style, management style, right? I don't know if you're a business owner or a manager or a boss or something, but that's kind of it's a very boss energy. I think it's really ego. The emperor represents the fortified ego. We're trying to understand what's the right sort of attitude for the ego right now, right? We want the ego to be strong and firm and confident, assertive. We want the ego to be the authority, right? The ego is kind of like the CEO of the company, but isn't the one that makes all the decisions. It's just the one that sort of like puts everything in motion. Yeah. The CEO kind of has to take the recommendations of the board of directors, you know. So it's the ego is the facilitator of something, but not the one that's actually doing it. It's kind of this is just the figurehead, and it's a fortified ego. And then the Three of Cups, of course, becomes how much credit does my ego need? How much praise should I be demanding? Do I really am I doing what I'm doing in life, and then I'm trying to make a big show of it so that I can get the pat on the back, I can get the applause and the accolades? Or am I okay with sort of doing things behind the scenes and like just letting the work shine for itself, or letting other people take the credit and that kind of thing? And so I feel like this is kind of this is something in your world that you're responding to, and maybe it feels like somebody's trying to take the credit. Maybe that's okay. Maybe there is some concern that we're projecting a little bit too much of this submissive or yielding hanged man energy as our persona, when what we really feel like is, wait a minute, no, I'm not going to be a doormat. I'm the one that's doing all this work here. I'm going to take the credit. Okay? And then of course we sort of have to look at that objectively and think, okay, is that just my ego that I'm just kind of feeling like my ego's bruised a little bit because I'm not getting the praise for this job well done? Well, we got to look at that a little bit closer, right? Let's go underneath the surface and check out card number 3. This is the position of the soul, reveals our unconscious drives, the private self, the feelings that are really going on underneath here. And of course, it's a 5 of Cups. It's disappointment, right? This is why we're having this conversation anyway, right? Because there's something that you feel should be there in your life, but it's not. And maybe that is the gratitude, the appreciation, where the emperor feels like, I'm doing all this work for everybody and I don't get a single thank you. Okay? It's kind of a tough place to be in, because it kind of feels like I deserve something else, and it's not there. I did all this work and didn't get anything, I didn't even get any recognition. I didn't get a thank you. I didn't get the bonus check, or, the boss sort of was thanking everybody but forgot to single me out, especially for some sort of for praise or accolades. Yeah. But this is a card of disappointment. This is kind of saying, yeah, my feelings are hurt. Okay, I think that sums it up. Your feelings are hurt because there is something that you felt should have been there for your hard work, and it wasn't there. It kind of feels like, from that emperor point of view, it's like, hey, I'm the one that did all this stuff. How come I'm not getting more, how come I'm not getting more love, basically, right? And so this kind of is, these are the feelings right now that might be influencing our behavior, it's a feeling that's fighting for expression. And, it's not easy to say if this is good or not. I don't think it really comes down to whether this is right or wrong, good or bad. It is what it is. You feel like you deserved more. And what do we do with that feeling? Does that turn us into more of an emperor, where it just says, fine, I'm going to be even more of a kind of a badass, you know, because well, if I'm not getting the praise that I really desire or that I feel I deserve, right, correctly or incorrectly, I'm gonna just be even more. I'm going to be even more of this boss energy. I'm going to be more firm. I'm going to be more of this essential, you know, this is kind of like a yang energy, whereas the Empress is more of a yin energy. And this is way more stern and strict. Well, I'm just going to double down. I'm going to make everybody work overtime. You know, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be even more strict and serious, more disciplined. And we end up being a little bit harsh. We end up being a little bit cold, even, and unconnected with people. Because our feelings are hurt, we get a little bit more rigid, right? A little bit more rigid. And, you know, I don't know if this is something happening at work, at home, at school, in your personal life, private life, public life, professional life. It doesn't matter really what it is. What matters is that we're trying to handle things in the right way. We're trying to find the right blending of energies and the right balance so things can grow and we can experience just kind of a peaceful and calm but productive life. You know, it's not too much to ask, is it? Let's go to position 4, the dwarf, you know, the event. This is the past event that we really need to release, okay? And in some ways, the 10 of Swords is about the destruction of what we thought we knew. I think that there probably was some particular event where you put in a lot of effort and somebody did something that hurt our feelings or slighted us, or we feel like was disrespectful. And it kind of feels then like, I'm done with that person. That's it. I'm writing them off. Okay? This is the card of a situation that is no longer serving you. This is a desiccated sort of energy supply, you know? It's a dry hole. There's nothing else here. There's no point in keeping this around because it's not nourishing you. It's not helping you in any way. This is the grudge, right? This is the belief that we were holding that now is just kind of it's one of those what is it? It's like it's a gradient. I don't know what this is in hydrodynamics, but it's kind of like an area of low pressure is going to suck energy away from an area of high pressure, right? And so since this is a desiccated situation, this is taking a lot of your emotional energy away from you and leaving you a little bit drier. Does that make sense? You put some hot water into some cold water, and what happens? You get lukewarm water. So you put a lot of your emotional energy into an emotionally void space, and you're going to be left with a lower amount of the emotional energy, you see. So it's, and there's a technical term for this. I don't know what it is. Any of you engineers or physics people out there, please let me know what I'm talking about. I think it's a gradient, or it's the a drier area obviously is going to pull more moisture from the wet area. Yeah. And so this is that very dry event or situation or memory or grudge or, that kind of energy complex that's draining a lot of your emotional energy. And it's making you a little bit less happy, a little bit less connected, a little bit less feeling good, a little bit less willing to give your love energy and to connect. It's making you a little bit more rigid and closed off. So this is definitely something that we need to let go of. And I think this was something we feel slighted. We feel like we were wronged. We feel like we were disrespected or taken advantage of or something along these lines. Okay. The fifth position, the driving force, the dominant motivation right now is the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is this feeling of, it's the kind of the feeling of, it's the feeling that there's something toxic that we have to get away from. And very often this card represents something that we might indulge in, the way we might self-medicate, the way we might try to make it up to ourselves. It's kind of, to me, this feels like when you're sad and you want to eat a lot of ice cream, that we're sort of, we're compensating in a way. Yeah. And this is something now that we realize, I don't want to act this way. I don't want to do these kinds of things. I want to find a way to reconcile this energy and move forward in a way that is healthier and happier and, But I like the Seven of Cups because at least we're recognizing the type of energy that we don't want to have. Okay? We're kind of recognizing that there is this emotional residue, and it could be like, oh, well, yeah, now I recognize that my emotions have my vibrations have lowered a little bit because of this thing that happened. And I can't control the thing that happened. I don't know objectively if we were right or wrong. It's emotions. It's not right or wrong. We feel how we feel, right? We might be remembering the event differently than how it actually happened, but your feelings are actually there. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to consider, are my feelings right or wrong? They're just feelings. They're irrational by definition. So regardless of what the actual events are, you feel a certain way about them. And now we're recognizing that, okay, the way I feel is leading me to act or behave or just to sit in this feeling that I don't want to sit in. So the first step is to recognize that regardless of whether I feel like I'm justified or not, point is I feel how I feel. The point is I don't want to feel this way anymore, So it doesn't matter what actually happened. What matters is we've decided not to feel this way anymore. And so that is where we get our Three of Wands, our Cups, our Three of Cups and our Empress energy. Because now we realize that even if I'm feeling kind of icky, because I'm disappointed, because my feelings are hurt, because of some event that's already passed, I'm not going to let this event keep draining my good feelings and lowering my vibrations and sucking my energy away. Maybe the idea here is that even when we're feeling the worst, when we feel as icky as we've ever felt, that's when we should be expressing gratitude and love and connecting with other people and showing our appreciation and praising other people and doing kind things for other people, being of service, And that's when we really need, because that's when it's going to help. It's easy to think of your gratitude when life is good. And I'm feeling good, it's easy to be thankful for everything, right? But when we're feeling really yucky emotionally, that's when it's very difficult to feel gratitude. But that's when we need it the most, because that's when it's going to be the most effective in turning our lives around. Okay? And that leads us then to position 6, which is the imago, the event, future event. So this is kind of like saying we have to make the choice to step into our Empress energy instead of ruling with the iron fist. Right? Instead of ruling with the ram's head, we're ruling with the lotus, right? We're ruling with love and compassion and understanding that, there is a better state, a better future that can arise out of this. It's kind of the lotus that is growing out of the swamp, the lily pads that sort of, that rise up out of the swampy lake. And that's kind of the Empress energy, I think, the next step for you anyway with this position. This reveals like what we're supposed to do in the immediate future. And this is be of service. Do something kind for somebody else. Okay? Because it's easy when we feel like we're disrespected, somebody was unkind to us, it's easy for me to be unkind right back or to be unkind to other people, kind of, to pay it forward, right? But that doesn't help. That just makes the world a worse place. Yeah. So even regardless of what we feel, regardless of whether we're justified or not, you are justified. You feel how you feel, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's okay to feel how we feel. What we can do about it is to then sort of transmute that sadness or that despair or that swampy feeling or that disappointment or sadness or that the hurt feelings. We can transmute that into love, into compassion, into nurturing. Okay? It doesn't mean that we have to go and do something kind for the person that we feel has slighted us. Maybe we do something kind for somebody else. Okay? It doesn't have to be like, that we are, we're sort of, offering the other cheek or something to someone that has offended us. And maybe that is, but it has to be your choice, right? But the idea is that if we can focus on love and gratitude and connection and nurturing and family and all this kind of thing, then we're going to transform how we feel and we're going to have a better experience. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I'm the only one looking out through this pair of eyes right now, And so how I feel and how I perceive life is everything. It's reality to me, right? Everything, the only thing that we have as human beings right now, as spiritual beings having a human experience, all we have is our subjective awareness, our interpretation of reality. And if my interpretation of reality right now feels yucky, I got to do something about that. And getting mad, getting harsh, and being more firm and being more aggressive, that doesn't help me feel better. What might help me feel better is to love, to be compassionate, to have gratitude, to show appreciation, to focus on those people, maybe not the person that offended you, but focus on those people that, you can show love and affection and kindness toward. Ideally to everybody. Ideally even to the person that offended you. But that's a big step, okay? At least to the other people around you. Be of service. Show kindness, right? And compassion. And we'll go the way of the Empress here. Yeah, but that takes us over to the path of the serpent. And as we talk about these cards, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are free. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, we've got the Hanged Man as position 7, the persona. The face that we're wearing. The way other people see us, okay? Other people right now, they're not seeing you as an emperor. They're not seeing you as an empress either. They may be seeing you as somebody who is quite hurt or quite kind of trapped in a negative state, trapped in a feeling. People may be seeing you as somebody who's vulnerable, okay? To me, this feels like somebody who is, this may not sound very good, but this might be people experiencing us as somebody who is indulging in some self-pity. Okay? I probably lost a lot of you there. I can hear everybody clicking off the phone, changing the channel, I hope you don't. Because we have to understand that, sometimes we behave in this way and this isn't who we are. I think this card is also kind of this projection of somebody who is so affected by the events that are taking place around us or by this one particular event that it's very difficult for us to recover from it. That when something bad happens, we sink, we spiral down into it. Instead of just saying, okay, I feel crappy about that, but I'm gonna stand up, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna find a way to reverse this feeling. Rather than sort of losing control and kind of, in a way, suffering more than we need to. Yeah. I don't think this persona serves your highest truth. This doesn't resonate in any way with how you see yourself. You see yourself as an emperor. You see yourself as a boss, someone who's strong, right? I think we should see ourselves as a combination of emperor and empress. But this is definitely not compatible. Yeah. The Hanged Man is not compatible necessarily with the emperor, unless it reveals the emperor is kind of accepting the situation, accepting whatever it is that happened and letting it go. Surrendering to it, saying, okay, it is what it is. I can't control the past, but I'm done feeding into it. I'm not going to feed that pity. I'm not going to feed this sort of unwanted monster, right? That's just consuming all my good vibes. I'm not going to feed into it anymore. And so surrendering is kind of saying, it is what it is. Let's let the water flow under the bridge and let's move on. Okay? But we also don't want people to see us as being a doormat. Okay, so that's why I feel like this is a very delicate situation. We don't want to be too passive and submissive where we just say, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. Then people think they can treat us that way all the time. But we also don't want to let that event transform us and our emperor energy into a monster, right? So it's a very delicate thing. We have to show strength. We also have to show compassion. We want to have this calm, controlled assertiveness. We don't want to feel either way that whatever this person did kind of triggered my rage, and now I'm out of control. There I am being so affected by it anyway. Or if I let it go and I'm too easygoing about it, people think they can do it all the time. So where's the line? Where's the balance? That's kind of what we're looking for now. Yeah. Your next card is obviously very connected with what's inside of you. This is our behavior outside. This is our feelings inside. This is the event that is provoking your shadow, right? And so to me, it feels like we are, in a way, we're trying not to be too reactive to the situation, but the situation does require a response. We have to react in some way. We don't want to not react. Maybe that's the Hanged Man too. I'm not doing anything. If we do nothing, that's when we sort of seem like we're too submissive. But what we don't have to do is be so aggressive. We can be sort of compassionate. This is maybe the proper action to take. Whereas this is something that is a response. It's kind of reactive. That my feelings are hurt and now I'm reacting this way. Okay? This is a direct sort of reaction, which is better than no reaction at all. But maybe what we can do is respond with strength and power, but also with calm compassion. We don't need to kind of lose control here. Okay? And the Knight of Wands in this position is kind of saying that whatever is happening around you right now, it's kind of making you want to just react without thinking, impulsively, just kind of whatever it is, going with it, and somebody swings at you, what do? You swing back, right? That's the automatic kind of response. Now, I'm not saying this is going to come to fisticuffs, but in the theater of life, this is kind of how we are wired to react to something, fight or flight. Okay? Fight or flight or freeze. If we freeze, we do nothing. That's like, probably the worst. Fight or flight, I think, is kind of the more instinctual thing. And, we can choose how we want that reaction to be. And again, it's kind of our feelings are hurt, and this is how I'm reacting to it. We need a little bit more control over that, a little bit more space between those things. And, this is the reason why we're acting this way is because our feelings are hurt. Okay? Maybe there are better ways to express that and deal with that and better ways to resolve this than to just react kind of impulsively. Okay? The next card we have is the Spectre, position 9, and it's a 2 of Swords. This represents our fears, worries, concerns, hidden anxieties, parts of us that this is what we don't want. And in that sense, we don't want to be indecisive. We don't want to do nothing because then people are going to see us as being weak and ineffectual and, easily taken advantage of. And then, of course, then your employees think they can just get away with everything, or, the other person in your life feels like they have no sense of responsibility, right? So the 2 of Swords becomes this idea that I have to do something. I have to make a decision, okay? And I think the point here is that we're taking a step away from this horse. We're not just getting on our battle horse and charging the enemy. No, we're saying, wait a minute. What's my intuition telling me? What is the better way to do this? Because if I go out and I act reactive and impulsive, I'm probably not going to feel better. I'll probably just feel worse. Oh, mostly. It might feel better for a time, but like the 7 of Cups is saying, something that feels good in the short term might not feel better, might not feel that great in the long term. So we're putting a little bit of space between the horse and the rider here. Okay? But the horse and the rider is saying, look, this situation does require a response. Let's just make sure that we're responding perhaps in a dignified way rather than just being too quick to feed into something. Because maybe somebody is trying to push your buttons and trying to trigger you, trying to provoke a response, trying to test you, kind of poking the bear a little bit to see if the bear is going to be a bear that just does nothing, or a bear that is just going to lash out, right? I don't think either of these are really going to be all that serving of your best interest. But the Two of Swords is saying we need to make a choice based on what we know is going to lead us to the proper outcome, the proper growth. Okay? What we're afraid of is being seen as indecisive. So there's that part of us that says any reaction is better than no reaction at all. But a better reaction is better than a worse reaction, right? The final card that we have is position 10. It is the Destiny card, and this is growth. This is a situation that is leading to growth, okay? This is a calm, balanced, patient growth, okay? The culmination of all this is that we're sort of learning a lot about ourselves, and this relationship is going to grow a little bit. Things are going to improve through this situation. We don't want to do something that's going to diminish the situation. We don't want to do anything that's going to limit the growth or make things worse. We want our response to lead to better things. We want the situation to improve, right? And so this card is card of patience, prudence. We're going to react, but we're going to react in a way that's going to be kind of a win-win situation, a way that's going to be good for everybody, right? And we're definitely not going to make anything worse. It could be that there is a toxic element in this situation, and like you're the boss and someone needs to be reprimanded, let go of, fired, right? That there is somebody that maybe doesn't need to be in your life anymore. But we want to handle it in a way that's going to lead to our personal growth and development, that's going to lead to better things for us, something that's going to nourish the garden, right? And we've got to have force and fire and confidence and assertiveness, but we also need yielding. We also need compassion. We also need time and tolerance and patience. So it kind of is like, the best thing for the tree is sunlight and water. The heat, the warmth, and a little bit of trials and tribulations, but also love and nourishment. It's kind of like with anything. If you're too soft with it, it's not going to grow very strong. If you're too hard with it, it's not going to grow any kind of softness or compassion. It's like you're raising kids. And maybe that's what this is. It could be your parenting style, or your management style, or just your style of dealing with life and with other people in your life. We can't rule with the iron fist, because that's going to create a type of person we don't want to be around. And we can't let other people get away with everything, because that's setting a very bad precedent. So it's really about the balance. How are we going to have healthy growth here? Okay. Let's look at the mystery card. This is position 11. This is the guide. Let's uncover this mystery together. Represents the voice of the silence within you, the qualities that we need to develop in order to walk the path forward, the message that Spirit's trying to convey to you. What do you think it's going to be? Put your prediction in the comments down below. I'm kind of thinking like a balance. It's going to be maybe a 6 of something. Maybe the Lover's card, maybe the Two of Cups. I don't know. I think it's going to be a 6. Probably a 6 of Wands, right? Well, let's take a look. The Chariot. Chariot is interesting because it is discipline and self-control. It is us guiding our behaviors, guiding our chariot, right? Our body, our behaviors, guiding our life in a way that is serving the higher purpose. It's kind of like you're driving a truck with some really precious cargo in it. Okay? You're not going to, no matter how you feel personally as the driver, you're not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the cargo we got in the back. It's kind of like when you got your kids in the car. You're going to drive really, really safe. Even if somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're not going to chase them down, and you shouldn't do it anyway, right? But especially not with the precious cargo. you're going to do what you need to do in order to get where you're going safely. So the Chariot, I think, perfectly exemplifies that, because we are carrying the precious cargo of our higher purpose. And so it's saying that regardless of what my ego wants to do, regardless of my hurt feelings, I have to do what's right for my essential purpose here. And so in order to do that, we have to know what our essential purpose is, right? Because then we realize that I'm just the vehicle for this higher purpose. I'm in service to this thing. I'm loyal to this thing. And regardless of how I feel personally in my ego, my hurt feelings, regardless of that, I got to do the right thing. I got to steer the chariot in the right direction. Okay? I think it's a very good confirmation card. Anyway, let this message find your heart. Each card is a mirror. Each station is a temple of transformation, alternating between who you are becoming and the world you are creating. Remember that the tarot does not dictate your future. It reveals the patterns of possibility. It invites you to co-create your destiny. Your choices matter here, okay? If this reading has illuminated your soul path in any way, please share your reflections down below. Together we journey onward, ever upward, and ever inward. And we're going to do an extended reading as well if you want to stick around. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link up top. There is a link down below. New readings for Libra are on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.